Talk Radio powered by eastrologer.tv. I'm Ernesto. I'm your host. And just a moment while we get all of our live stream set up, we're actually in more than one place now. So fingers crossed that all of these moving little parts move like they're supposed to. Beretta, are you there on the line with me? Can you hear me tonight?
I am here.
All right, perfect. And how has your week been?
Well, it's been twists and turns, ups and downs. And most of the time I feel like I have a grin on my face, like, oh, here we go. So it isn't necessarily negative ups and downs and twists and turns, but it can definitely catch you off guard if you're, like, not capable of shifting or being flexible.
That's for
sure,
yeah.
Weird kind of, like, get ready, this is what's to come. You're getting a taste, so prepare. It could be like a swift. Every time I feel this energy, I feel it in association to what, we would be like in a theme park ride where you're getting on and you're starting to hang on and you're getting ready to go and you have no idea, what twist and turn is coming next. That's the way it feels for me. That's this kind of energy for me is like, oh, here we go. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure. And let me show you some stuff that's happening in the transits here. Let me get my microphone set up. All right, great. So, this is the thing that I know a lot of people who call the show that, you're always having the big questions, about like work and career and, like just wanting to know the general basic needs that those are going to be met. That's what we address in the free reading to make sure that, like your bills are going to be paid for and you're going to have lights this month and a roof over your head. Those are a lot of the common questions that we get on a regular basis on the show. So I kind of want to take a moment here to look at that because what we're looking at here right now on our chart, if you're watching over on our live stream on YouTube, this is the planets that are in the sky right now. So these are the energies that are affecting literally every person on the planet. So unless if you have a triple pattern specifically in your chart, you will not be affected personally by this event. But these are themes or trends that are affecting every single person. And that, this is kind of like the narrative that's on the world stage right now. These are the things that we're all dealing with. So we're all working through these issues in one way or another, some more so than others, but it's all affecting us in some way. When we look at the transit chart here, what we find there is that right in between these two planets and that Mars and that Admetos right there, that midpoint, and I'm going to draw a line so it's a little bit more clear for you here. Great, got it. So Admetos to Mars, that's this midpoint here where those arrows are, that's going to go straight across to this Pluto here. Now, I bring this up because, this is a transit effect that we're going to have like every couple of months, let's say. All of the faster moving stuff like the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and, some of the personal points like the meridian and the ascendant, we do not consider them just because they move so fast that they don't really give us a whole lot of information. Mars is the slowest of all of the inner moving planets. So we can work with that one a little bit more. And also because Mars deals with our actions and our job, that's going to be something that people are going to be interested in. So when we look at this midpoint of Mars Admetos, so just to tell you right offhand, that combination means suppression. So everybody's being suppressed right now. This can also mean a sluggish economy, especially if you've got Jupiter in there. But you've got Mars Admetos to Pluto, which is on the opposite side where that arrow's at, where I drew that line. And when you look over there, what you're finding is that this creates essentially a planetary picture. Pluto is at the midpoint of Mars and Admetos. If you look it up in the rule book, specifically what that means, then we're looking at something like this. Mars Admetos, which is grave hindrances in activity, end of an action, terror, suppression, very cold. Specialism, knowing of the field of activity, oppression, wreckage and ruins, terror, specialist. Social work, stock market drop, decrease of work, throttling, suppression, terror, rawness, and all of that other stuff. So this is all really difficult energy. Like this is something that you would see quite often and perhaps maybe like something having to do with terrorism or one of those types of events. You're going to see Mars Admetos because that's going to be where people are scared and there's oppression going on. Also, just and at a general sense of what's happening in the world, Mars Admetos is dealing with suppression, but of people, like you and me, by our federal governments. And this is happening in every country in the world. So it's not just the United States, it's everywhere. And now, depending on where the ascendant is, that's going to have more of an impact on the location that's being affected in this analysis. But what we look at here in this particular chart is we see that You've got Mars and Admetos that make that midpoint where I put that black dot, and then that black arrow on the other side to this Pluto, that creates a planetary picture. So Mars Admetos, that axis, means all of that big stuff that I just set up here on the top. And then when you add the Zeus to fulfill that planetary picture, then it says to want to make room, to move old things out of the way, to make room for new things, to wreck things, to be the cause of destruction. So that's Mars Admetos there. If we look up Mars and Pluto, because remember that these are all the same. This is why Uranian astrology gives us all of its depth, because it's a language. So we can look it up, Mars, Pluto. Now, those two planets, because those are two of the three that we were looking at in this, right? That means working on schedule, multitasking, organizing one's work, planning, blueprints, duplicates, to copy, repeat, multiply, leading, supervising, alteration in the activity of one's work in the working conditions, change in the occupation, dividing, splitting, and branching off. Now, when we add the Admetos into this, which was our third planet, that means plans which are only brought about on a smaller scale. And if it equals the meridian, then reduced plans. So we can also look up the final combination of Pluto Admetos equals Mars. We can look at that in the chart, but I'm just going to tell you right now that based on the language, that that's going to refer to people who have plans, like you had this big plan that was set up, and then it's sort of like, well, that's not happening because your general condition has changed. Events in the world have changed. What you thought that you could do before, you don't have the information for anymore. Whatever that plan was, it just fell apart because it's just not meant to be. So you kind of have to do some damage control and figure out what's happening, what the next step is in this whole process. And that's a big thing that everybody on the planet is dealing with right now, is that that Mars Admetos with the Pluto energy, and especially over the next couple of days, I would say for the rest of this work week, that's going to be some major highlighted themes that'll be affecting everybody. Now, if we look a little bit further and we do something like this, where we're redoing the chart, but now what we're going to do is we're going to specifically look at like the Mars as a transit. Now, when this Mars down here moves to like up there, I'm sorry, that's not the right shape. When it moves to about here, when it gets to that arrow, then that means that if you have, like, let's say Saturn and the Moon, Saturn, and Mars, those three planets means that your work is oppressed. You are oppressed as a person, that somebody is working to oppress you. So, like, you may feel just very squashed and really powerless. And so if you've got, like, let's say Saturn or the Moon over here on either one of these indirect axis arrows, as I'm drawing here, if you've got Saturn or Moon there, you're definitely going to feel systematically oppressed. That will be a theme over the weekend, more than likely, once that Mars makes that transit up there. But as from a natal point of view, if you've got that, you will be affected. And it's going to be intense because this is happening on the world axis. So every person on the planet is being affected by those energies. You just have to remember, this too shall pass. The rock avalanche that I talked about last week, that seems to be getting so much closer than what it ever has before. And it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be stressful. Just remember, it's okay to walk away from the things that you're not in control of. And it's okay for you to admit, none of this little stuff really matters. I think I'm going to go and take care of myself. Self-care is always number one.
Yeah.
So
that's for sure. If you're not to take care of yourself, you're not going to handle the change to come, or anybody else's situation either.
That is for sure, and it's going to be a big thing. So that's sort of why I say here, that you will all be affected by these energies over the next coming weeks. So that's why, I want to bring this up, that if it just feels like it's too much and you're feeling like, I really just want to jump off of a bridge, maybe I need to see a therapist, or maybe I need to talk to my doctor about getting on some like crazy pills because I just can't handle this. Well, that's because it's the planets, and it's not just you, honey, it's everybody. So it'll go away. Just take a deep breath and do some meditation or whatever it is that you need to do to bring yourself to your happy place. And that for right now, this little spell will go away. But remember that if you have that Moon and Ascendant, Moon or Saturn on either one of those green arrows, then you will be affected by that Mars energy once every couple of months. So this is every year you're going to be affected by this multiple times. And we can always address that in your reading being here, I can always point some things out to kind of keep you on track, to keep things, keep afloat and ahead of everything. That's just sort of what we do. So, Veretta, do you have any other advice for the week? Because it sounds like that there's just a lot of crazy stuff that's going to be going on.
I think, that it's really already happening. I don't think we know about it quite yet. You know what I mean? I think that what you were reading, with all the energy that I've been feeling and going on, a lot of what is already percolating in the background is coming to a head. So I think, whether it's a personal level coming to a head or a global level, I don't think next week's going to be the same anymore. It just feels to me like we got a lot of things we're going to have to accept the changes on, and just kind of, like you said, weather through it, and it will pass. The new norm will maybe take a little while to adjust to, but be graceful about it. It'll be easier to accept it if you're flexible than if you said that, and no, I'm not going to, embrace the changes. Don't be mean to you. Take care of yourself this week. Get ready, tie up loose ends. Get all your stuff done that needs to be taken care of.
No, I will say this, I don't really like to do this because it's not helpful. Like, as from Uranian Astrology is a personal consulting tool. That's what we use it for. Astrologers seem to have this really bad habit of talking about events that have already passed, or, like really mundane things like out in the world that are affecting people at a global level. Like, that's just not helpful as far as like really any divination is concerned. Like, if I went to you, Veretta, and I said, give me the very best psychic reading that you can give me, and then you give me a reading that applies to me, Joe Blow, and every other person on the planet, I'm not going to be very happy. I'm going to feel kind of ripped off. I'm going to sort of wonder if you're really any that good at all. So it behooves us as astrologers to do the diagnosis of past events when people have already written about these things ad nauseum. But what I will say, for like the stuff that's happening out in the world, like right now, that's affecting us. Look at this. So the big news and this big story in the news, let's dump politics. Let's forget about all of that. Monkeypox. That's the big thing, right? That's what we're talking about. So here it is. Neptune, Saturn, Zeus, with the moon and the ascendant. Now, this is important because when I first did this before the show to take a look at what's happening out in the world, the planets that were out in the sky, they weren't really making a whole lot of sense from like a 0 degrees latitude and longitude position. So I usually run transits from like the center of the Earth from zero longitude. It just works better. I mean, who decided that that the center of the world is Greenwich, England, which is the prime meridian? Why is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, don't you think that the center of the Earth wouldn't be 0 degrees latitude and longitude? Doesn't, just logically, that's what follows. So I always do it from that perspective. So when you do it from there, you don't really get a whole lot. But when you look at it, you start to see like this Neptune and this Saturn down here, that these two are about the same distance with reflection. If you reflect this Neptune across this indirect axis, then it'll equal this Saturn here. And then that comes to this Zeus on the left. The moon is up top and the ascendant's on the bottom. Now, this chart is set for Manhattan. And the reason I did that is because if you put in monkeypox on the computer and type in news, people in New York are like going crazy about how children are being infected by monkeypox right now. This is a big headline. So now here it is. This is where it gets really interesting. So we're going to make that go away for a second, and let's take a look at Saturn and Neptune. And when we look at that combination of energies, we have losses or separation through deception or fraud, theft, losses, and habit, things of long duration, sickness, treacherous diseases, chronic ill health, pestilence, plague, persistently bad conditions, and fraud. So Saturn, Neptune, this is an energy or an axis point that you would also see for like bed bugs. That would be an example of pestilence. Rashes would be something that would fall under Saturn, Neptune. Things that are just really annoying. That like herpes, for example. Like the herpes virus. That's another Saturn, Neptune energy because it's a pestilence. It's not that it's a disease. It's just annoying. And monkeypox kind of falls into that same category of pestilence, plague. So when we look at that Saturn, Neptune here for the rule book, we're going to add that Zeus, which is what we had on the left. Which was chronic hindrances in work and infection of the progeny. Beautiful. Progeny, for those of you who don't know, because this is a thesaurus thing, that just means offspring, children. It's just an old fancy word for those people. So we're talking about infection of kids when we have that Zeus on the left. If we add the moon to it, which we also had up on the top, connections with diseased people. No, I'm sorry, that's the node. Treacherous women, sickly and sick persons, diseases of the womb, diseases and sickness of the people. So these are also things. And I also put the ascendant in there because that's the location. So the ascendant is going to deal with infection of other people, to be infected and to vaccinate. So that's Saturn, Neptune to the ascendant. So if you are, I know we have a lot of people that are based out of the East Coast from our show here tonight. If you are in the Manhattan area and you're looking at our chart right now, you'll see that this meridian passes over all of these arrows once every 6 hours. So 4 times a day, this M is going to move over those arrows. Now, depending on what you have in your chart personally, in terms of like infection and pestilence, that would determine whether or not you would get infected personally by it. Now, because the ascendant comes down here right next to this arrow on the pointer tail over here, within a degree, that means that this is a location, this is a place, Manhattan, that will be affected by pestilence or disease. Like let's say at Gaia's navel at 0 degrees latitude and longitude, we don't see those contacts to the ascendant. So that's not a place that would be affected by that. You see how that works? That's a difference between us and other standard astrologers. Is like they'll say something like, oh, move me to where I'm going to fall in love. Well, that's really cute that you think that you're in charge and that you can control your own destiny like that, because guess what? You make plans and God laughs. That's kind of how that works. What we're looking at here, though, in this case is that I just wanted to show you about all of the stuff that's going on with monkeypox in the Manhattan area. So if that's a location that you're in or you're listening to from tonight, all my prayers are out there with you, because this looks like this could be a very difficult place to be in regard to children getting sick from something like this.
Yeah.
So this was sort of something that we're looking at, and it's very difficult to sort of, I guess, predict these things because these planets are all so slow moving, and it's really difficult to say this is the specific place where it will hit or be affect. But we can at least tell from a transit chart or point of view that this is a theme that's affecting everybody, and especially with kids being infected. And remember, monkeypox is a type of pestilence, but it could also be, kids being infected from other infectious diseases or illnesses, things that are annoying, that'll be a thing. So if you have kids out there and you're living in the big city, fingers crossed, like may your angels be with you throughout these difficult times. And on that note, we are going to get off to our phone lines here tonight. And we're going to take our first call here. Let's see. We have Stacy from area code 959. Here we go. Stacy, are you on the line with me? Can you hear me right now?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Even though I've been having very crazy past, I would say a month and a half, and pretty crazy.
Okay, all right. Got it. Okay, and Stacy, did you say that I don't have your birth data in here? May I have that again from you?
Yeah, it's October 18th, 1989.
And at what time were you born?
I was born in New Britain, Connecticut.
At what time?
1:18 a.m.
New Britain, okay, at 1:18, got it. And I'm sorry, could you say your name for me again, just so that way I have read it, that she gets it right?
Basil.
Okay, all right, got it. That's what I thought. And now, Staso, did you want a general reading today, or do you just have a question about an issue?
Um, it's kind of hard for me to articulate the question, but it's more like, it's I'm looking for something that just gives me a peace of mind at this point, because I've been always, I feel like for the past 3.5 years I've been the worst of feeling of like, financial distress, um, and it's like, when will I ever get out of this crap? It's like, it's just, I feel like it just runs my life, you know? So I'm just kind of looking for something within that area, within the reading.
Sure. All right, Veretta, what do you have?
Okay. Well, so I think a lot. What I'm feeling with you is a lot of what you're enduring is just what this specific life cycle is about. This cycle for you seems to be, you're probably in about the, like you said, third or fourth year. I'm feeling that you usually run maybe 7 years in a life cycle. So 6-7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about right. And so you're
Yeah.
kind of gonna, hate to tell you this, endure about a few more years of what you're going through. Now, you gotta understand there's a reason for this, and we gotta ask why. What am I going to? Well, let's look at you. First of all, the first thing I hear right out of the box is one of the things that this life cycle for you is to do, and is to bring you ample amount of time should you need it to get right on the direction you should be going in, and fine tune or smooth down all the rough edges and kind of get to where you're supposed to be. Because then once this cycle is over, where you're at the end of it, means you're going to be there for a while and you're going to coast. And I mean like coast for decades, kind of coast, in a very comfortable, laid back living. I'm talking about your living environment now. A very comfortable, laid back kind of feeling in where you abide, and it will give you the foundation, the strength, to cope with everything else that you want to endure and experience in life that you're not sure about taking on right now, because you're not feeling like you're in a real stable position.
Right.
So I would say to you that first thing I would say to you is that this is not going to be the entire duration of your life. This is temporary. This too shall pass. However, if you haven't really got straight in your mind about who you are, where you're at, what your strength is, X, Y, Z, and all the rest, this may be the time for you to really be doing that. And if you're not landing in the places that you think you should be, maybe you need to reinvent where you should be. A lot of times when things don't work out for us, it's just because it's not where we're meant. I mean, no matter how hard or struggle we find ourselves in, if we're not meant to be there, we're not meant to be there. You're going to be miserable the entire stay. There's that. Right? So your financial setting, your living situation, yourself, how you feel about yourself, is all wrapped around this 7 years for you to be able to get it right, or at least settle down enough to know that you'll be okay. Now, are you failing at this? No, you're not failing. If you want to, like a percentage of, well, how bad am I doing compared to everyone else? Well, first of all, don't compare yourself to everyone else. Let's start right there. Because they have their own journeys and they have their own things to deal with. But I would say when you look at everything that you are doing, you have done right. You didn't lapse or relapse. You didn't succumb to outside pressure to do things that you really didn't want to do. You didn't allow yourself to get sucked down a road of never-ending hustles. You really did very well for yourself by breaking the mold and old habits. Okay? So don't feel like you failed. Don't feel like it's too late. Don't feel like you don't know how to do. Because when the time comes and you're in the situation that's right, man, it's going to pick up and run.
Okay.
Now you really will have time to decide if what you're wanting to do is what's right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix things, pretty much.
I know, but just hear me say, if you're continuously trying to fix something that isn't working and isn't staying right and isn't going to even net you what you want once it's done, that's why you maybe really need to be looking at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not what you should do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll be good. You'll be good. Just hang in there a little while. And other things will happen in this time frame too, not just straightening out the occupational and your financial living situation. There are other things that will manifest during this time that is supposed to feed and water you as well. So just to hang on to that thought. If people, relationships, certain knowledge hasn't shown up yet, you're fine. You're not behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Well, I don't know, Ernesto. What can you give him?
Okay, so I'm actually smiling as you're saying all of this because a lot of what I'm picking up in the chart is exactly in alignment with, what you're picking up. Again, which is always amazing. This is why we're here, to prove the astrology. So, Stasel, to show you in your chart, what's happening about your question about money, because you're specifically wanting to know, when does it get better? Now, I can tell you, I have this mark here at 27 degrees and 13 minutes, and that's going to be just where your double half sum of Jupiter is going to be in the chart. So that's going to be 27:13. I'll make that mark there so we can come back to it. But when we look here, you can see that, this Mars, let me draw some lines here, that this Mars comes over to like the midpoint of, or over to this Venus, which is also having to do with this moon. And then you can also, because it's close enough, you can also lump this Hades into that Venus and that moon. So that would mean to me that like your work, which is your actions, the Mars over here on the left, that this is going to be something that is defined by women, which is the moon, and also, your love for women, which is Venus, and Hades, which is having to deal with dirt, and, like ugliness. So this could be, like to be a service worker. So, you would work very, like to be a dishwasher, or to be a cook, or to be a server, to be a cashier, to be all the basic jobs that nobody wants, the ones that don't pay well. That's the kind of work that you do. And I can tell that here from your chart. And that's kind of what's creating so much of the rift with your money right now. It's just very simply a lack of cash flow. So when Beretta's telling you, that you really need to be looking at a change of scenery, well, let me look at this here. I put the midpoint here that both of your Jupiters, where that green dot is at now. And you can see on the bottom, I've highlighted in green the Saturn and this Uranus down here in the transits. And then in orange, you have Mars with Volcanus by direction. So that means for your present, where you are right now, the second ring in orange, that's your soul's evolution and growth. What we're looking at is this has to do with a powerful job or a career. So Volcanus is power, Mars is career work. So a powerful career is going to have something to do with your money when we put the chart right here. And also that those green circles, the Uranus, Saturn, that's going to have to do with a sudden separation. So like, you suddenly leaving and deciding, I think I'm just going to try my luck in some other city, or, I'm going to go and try this other suburb I've been looking at for a while, just for a little bit. I don't think the move is permanent by any means. And the reason I say that is because the Jupiter by transit up here in the top, that black arrow, that's going to be moving backwards with time. So by about, like, I want to say the first quarter of 2023, by about like February, March at the very, very latest, this whole process should be over. And you know, because Jupiter's in retrograde right now, you obviously don't want to make any major financial decisions at this time because you want to review all of those things. Review is something that retrogrades like. So, I don't expect you to, go out and make this, big to do about like starting this new chapter in your life, because that's all going to come. You're going to come back to where you are, or have some new game plan that's going to be better than what you have right now. And I think that that's very simply related to a change of scenery and you looking for better work that you're qualified to do, but isn't, like the same trash crap that nobody wants to deal with, that isn't paying, giving you the comfortable lifestyle you really want.
Right. Okay.
Veretta, do you have something to add to that, or is that kind of all what you're getting on your end?
I like that you could give a little more, obviously in the detail. So, no, I think that's good. That's a good way to end it.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, stay. So you have to give us a call back and let us know how it turns out. And, I'm going to tell you this, like, I would personally like to see you traveling, to a new location, even if that's just to get a change of scenery for a weekend by the end of next month. Like, you need to start to get those wheels moving as soon as possible, because if it's not taken care of by the spring of next year, it's going to be too late. That window of opportunity is already passed. And then you can expect for things to be difficult, in the near future. Also, something else where that green dot is at right now. This is about you being in the right place and learning how to do the right thing, as Veretta was talking about. Again, it's here. It's supported by the fact that I'll put this in pink so you can see it easier. You got that, this Kronos here. Let me delete that. Great. So you have the Kronos there, and then you also have this Zeus here. So those are both trans-Neptunian planets that we work with. But the definition of that is extremely skilled and capable, putting oneself in the right light. It literally says putting oneself in the right light, Veretta. Don't you love this?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about you you being in charge, and you taking control again. So this is kind of what this is about, and I think that the time is now. So just take those steps to make that happen, and you'll be very pleased with where you end up.
Okay.
Okay, great. So stay. So if you do have any other questions, be sure to hit me up, and we'll be back over the weekend as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for all that reading. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great. It was a pleasure as always. Thanks so much, and we'll catch up with you soon. Take care and good night.
You too. Good night.
Okay, then. So we are going to get to our next caller here, who is a new caller from area code 757. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hello. I had just took myself off the queue because I don't know my exact birth time. All I do know is my mom said I was born before 5 in the afternoon, but I don't know my exact birth time.
Okay, well, we'll just go with that. That's still great. I'm sorry, may I have your name?
Okay, my name is Vernell. It's with a V, like in Virginia, and I'm from Virginia.
Okay, all right, Vernell. And what is your date of birth?
Okay, I was born May 8th, 1963.
And you said it was about 5 o'clock, so we'll go with our famous 4:20 p.m. And where were you born?
Okay, I was born in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Is there a city, or is it just called Fairfax County?
Fairfax County.
Okay, no, not Vermont. Virginia, okay. Got it. Okay, and then now, Vernell, do you want a general reading today, or do you have a specific question about an issue tonight?
Let's see. I was wondering if y'all might know when I might move, because I've been having a tough time where I currently live at, and I'm on low income, on SSI disability.
Okay, great. Got it. Veretta, moving. What do we think?
Okay.
So,
Take a look at her. Wow. Well, unfortunately, I'm not seeing any kind of intention. I mean, I feel like there may be support there, but I don't know that anything is going to happen unless somebody steps up for you. Let's see. Okay. So there's an older female that comes into me that says you will need help. You have opportunity, or you had opportunity to have assistance or have help or maintain some type of working relationship with somebody, and because that it doesn't exist anymore, then you really don't have anybody to do. You got nowhere to go. So I can't tell you that I'm seeing anything happen anytime soon unless somebody just crawls out of the woodwork that I'm not seeing right now. And or you ask someone that you may know, family, I'm kind of thinking, which probably isn't even on your option list. So I don't know what to tell you, doll. I wish I could say, yep, I see something wonderful coming, and I would if I did, but I don't, so I can't. Now, here's the good news. Ernesto will look at the little stars, and he will see how those planets are looking and whether anything actually can manifest out somewhere else that can help you move. And then he'll probably have all kinds of suggestions for you, too. So I'm not sure who this female is that's tapping in here for me to give you info. It feels like an older female, older lady over you, that's giving you, not a scolding, but just giving you, you had access to, you don't anymore. I don't know if she's saying try to look that up, or that's the only place you could have had a place to go, which Spirit usually doesn't work in a negative post-fact manner. So I would say there's a prompt in there from this lady above that's given you that will get you somewhere you can go and be comfortable. I feel like your next step, wherever it is a stepping stone. It will not be where you land to stay. So I will say that. So Ernesto, can you give her any more?
Sure. Yeah, I'm taking a look at a couple of things. So for now, I'm taking a look at when we ask your chart at the question about moving, Veretta is on point when she says that the opportunity or window may have passed already. Like we are really looking at this is a very tight time frame, and that this is actually the time right now where we're talking in this moment. So I'm taking a look here to see what's happening with the transits. So we're sitting at about 13 degrees at the end of the month. Okay, so we're actually moving backwards. So then what happens at the end of, let's say, October? Then we're sitting at 9 degrees. So yeah, then it's getting even more difficult. Okay, so yeah, Vernell, this is the time. You need to, you really kind of need to charge like hell through this whole thing. If this is seriously something that you want, the timing is now, or it's and it may come again, but that's when it comes again, it's going to be a lot more in the distant future, when you're not really thinking about moving in the same capacity that you are today. Now when we look at that, I would say if you did move, the people you should be looking to are going to be people who, where is this? So that's 5849. Yeah, so these are going to be connections or changes with people. So this is going to be you've got that there, you've got that node with this Pluto that's crossing this axis point, so that the Pluto is going to create the change. And then, the node is your connection. So this is the connection that would change you. Now, specifically, what type of connection are we looking at? Let's take a look here. So this is going to have to do with, I want to say it's a work connection, possibly like a superior or a boss or something like that. And the reason I say that is because on the pointer tail over here, you've got this Sun Mars. So that's you, Sun, with your Mars work. So like my work. And then, you've got the Pluto, which is the change to the node in your connections. But specifically, when you move the dial over to the midpoint of the blue and the black dots, then you start to see this Kronos and this Zeus. And this is more like management and work. So this is somebody that you've worked with in the past about something, somebody who is a superior to you. They may have some more information about the whole moving thing. And like I said, if it's just like our last caller with Staysol, that if the change doesn't happen by the end of this year, it's too late. It's already been rendered. It's you're just going to have to wait for the next go around. But that's why I say that if this is something you want, then really just move like hell to make it happen today.
Okay. I used to clean apartments for a living, and the people have a house, and they used to on houses. That the father of the business here passed away about 2 years ago, but the son, he's familiar with me, and I don't know why I'm thinking about him all of a sudden. Do y'all think it might be like from a male figure that I might hear from, or something that might be able to offer me a place?
It would definitely be a man.
You have to reach out. You have to reach out to him.
Mm. It'll ultimately be a man who helps you, but you have to take those steps. Like you don't have like this whole damsel in distress thing going on where people just magically reach out to you and ask, hey, are you okay? Like that's not how this works. You have to be proactive in the whole process. That's why I say if this is something that you want, you're going to have to take the steps to make that happen, because nobody knows what Vernell wants. Nobody knows how to make what Vernell wants happen. It's just like you have to do that.
Right. Yeah, I was about to actually go to different agencies to see if I could apply for housing in different areas, and see what happens from there.
I do see that you would have success with that, but I think that ultimately what you end up with is going to be somewhat of a step down from where you are currently. Veretta, do you pick that up too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's why I got initially that the first place she ends up is only a stepping stone. So it may be transitional, temporary housing, or it just may be, oh my God, I'm here, I can't do this, I gotta go. And you're into something else fairly quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be some changes there, and definitely keep your eyes open and don't sign anything just yet, because it may seem like a good idea, but remember that Jupiter's in retrograde, so we can't really see very clearly right now. That won't be until like about the first quarter of the spring of next year when all of those blinders go away. And this is a really hot time for people to get suckered into something that they didn't know everything about, and then they ultimately ended up regretting that decision because they should have researched it better. So I do think that, there is some good potential, some nice things that could happen. You have to take all of those steps by yourself. And mostly be cautious about getting screwed over, because there's a really high chance for that to happen.
Okay, in the meantime, y'all don't think that the people that I currently rent from will throw me out, because I think that they're really trying to work on getting rid of me because I complained about a tenant, and they act like they want me gone.
No, you're just annoying to them. You're just a pestilence. You're just like monkeypox, but you go away. It's not like you hound them until they get it fixed. It's like you'll eventually let it up. They just know that, you're just, that's just you as a tenant. I don't really foresee like I'm getting kicked out of this, because I was bad to them. And that's retaliatory malice anyway. You can't do that. Like that's you could actually sue them for that if you did get thrown out. So, but I just see that, they just perceive you more as like annoying. Like, why does this lady have to talk so much? Why does she always have to bother us and rain on our parade? Why can't we just be left alone? Like it's one of those kinds of things. It's not like that they're going to do something to mess with you because they think that you're a menace.
Okay. Yeah, they make it look like I got too much stuff in my apartment, and these are small apartments, and my belongings I can't just throw things away. And I've been trying to work with them as much as I can, but it's really all about them getting on me because I complain about the neighbor, and if I hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have really been under the microscope about what I have. And the owner, he was in here before, back in 2019, and he didn't say anything, not even long after he was here. So, that's why they're making it an issue now because I complained.
Yeah. Just keep looking for where you can go. I don't think they're going to have anything to throw you out on right now anyway. But just keep looking.
Yeah, there's no basis for getting kicked out. So they would really, that would be a lawsuit and a half just to get that to go through.
And do they know that?
I don't think they do, but any court, it wouldn't even take half a brain to figure out. Like, I don't know what these people think this is. This isn't how the courts work, so we're going to dismiss this. But I don't see them, being a problem. Just so long as you keep to yourself, stay out of their hair, and just remember that, like I said, this is the time you need to move. So every day, every hour, be taking steps to make that happen and calling people, talking to them. Remember, nobody knows what you want. Nobody knows anything in this whole process. This is only a Vernell thing. So you have to fix that for yourself.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to stay on things.
Well, Vernell, we do wish you the very best of luck. So let us know how it turns out and give us a call back and we can catch up with you in the future.
Okay, thank y'all for your help.
That was great to have you on the show. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. We'll catch you soon. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, and we are going to take our next call here from, let's see, we're going to go with Kay from area code 919. Hi, are you on the line with me, Kay? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you for taking the call.
Perfect. All right, I got you up here. Now, Kay, do you have a specific question, or do you just want a general reading tonight?
I have a specific question.
All right, what is that? Go ahead.
And it's around career. I have been searching for jobs. I have actually been interviewing and definitely applying. And there was one that I was really, really excited about. It was with a major airline. And it didn't, I wasn't selected to move forward. However, a different recruiter has now reached out to me about a similar position with the same company. And I do have other things that I am applying for as well. But I guess my question, this is the one that I really, truly would love to have. The benefits are wonderful. And I'm just saying, do you see, because I trust that something is coming through soon, but do you see something that I have already applied for, or the one that my heart has?
Okay, Beretta, did you get that?
Yeah, and you know what? So the minute you concluded that question, I heard both. I heard both. So, and then Ernest said, okay, did you hear that? So I was just in the process of asking Spirit, okay, who's got a sense of humor, and what does that mean exactly? Okay, so somebody's telling me you would have had to apply for the one that your heart wants? So your question is both.
Both?
Your answer is yes. Get the one your heart wants because you have to apply for it. So yes, you'll get the one you apply for and the one your heart wants. Now I want to know, who do you have in spirit with male energy with the either a last name or a name that's predominantly J or hard J?
Wow. My father.
Like,
you want his name? You want his name?
Oh, no, I'm just validating who it is. Okay, so I'm just telling you, you got some serious answers being given to you. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. He is always around.
Yeah, well, he's definitely here right now. And so Renato, can you give her a little bit more?
Yeah, so I'm taking a look. So Kay, you basically just want to know if the job that you applied for is if that's going to be the one.
Yes.
The one with the second, with the second thing. Okay, so let me take a look. So we got a couple things here. Great. So it looks like. Do we have another one? Different. Give me one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I like that. So we'll go with this. And sorry, I just had some computer difficulties getting up a different rule book so I can really give you the best possible answer. So let's take a look. So we got this one.
Okay.
This is your natal that we're looking at. This is your you. And does the job have to do with women? This new one, are you going to be working around a lot around a women, or perhaps the public? Just like to be out, among us, out there.
Could be, yes, but the hiring manager is a woman.
Okay, and does the new job is that? Let's see here. Let's go with like. There we go. Okay, now this new job, does this have to do with travel?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so and are you going to be like training or teaching or anything like that?
There is a possibility it's dealing with legal work, and it could eventually, yes.
Okay. And is the nature of the legal work, is that more having to do with like risk management, on that end of things, like error analysis, like what did we do wrong in these particular scenarios? I get that the nature of the legal work is somewhat dirty or ugly, something that most people don't want to work with because they think it's beneath them.
I don't think so. It's contract work. So not everybody is. Some people will think that's such a boring area, but I absolutely love it.
Yep.
Okay. All
So
right.
yes, it would be something people thought were dirty because they wouldn't want to do contract work.
Exactly, and I'm the very opposite. That's where my piece
Yeah.
is in contract review and generation. Yeah.
Okay, now here we go. So we got that one, and where is this? Okay, so other question is, does the job? So the job deals with contracts, specifically with contracts. Does that work with to solidify a contract? Just to make sure that it's ironclad to detect any errors or
Yes.
loopholes.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is your dream job. Firstly, so this is going to be the type
Yeah.
of job, and like that you've always wanted to do, and it's
Yes.
here. This is the one. So, Kay, for all intents and purposes, let's just hope that you don't screw it up. Don't do anything to mess this one up, honey, because you waited your whole
Okay.
life to make it this far, and I see really great things happening with you. The only thing I would advise you about is there might be a little bit of confusion with regard to, let's say, like your salary or your work duties. Like those lines may not necessarily be clear so much. So my only advice to you is when you're talking to these people about, the negotiations of how this is going to work and everything, make sure you get all of that in writing and up front, because you getting fired from the job would very simply, it very easily happen, by the way, just because you didn't know what you're supposed to do and nobody ever told you that. Like I could see that you get like some kind of botched up training, or, like somebody who's going to mentor you or shadow or something like that, and somehow it falls apart very early on and you're just sort of left out in the cold. I can see you getting lost and confused very easily, and that it leads to an end of work. So that means you screwing it up, and that would be the area where you're going to have difficulties with this particular job, and legal is having to do with making sure those terms and conditions are upfront and clear.
Yes. Totally understand. Totally understand. Okay.
And,
And
and
when it comes to the salary, I can see that because as I stated, I applied for what I thought was the same position, but I don't know if they revamped it. and I was a very top candidate, but I didn't get moved on. Well, then a different recruiter has reached out to me, and I even advised her, I think I already applied for this, and she said, no, I don't know if this is the same one. The salary is probably maybe about 3,000 less, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't see you hurting after taking a new job. Let's just say that.
Oh, no. Yes.
Definitely not going to happen. But, to know your self-worth and to negotiate that, that's okay. That just go with that, but don't be insane, because people still have that reserve the right to say no. And this is your dream job, so don't screw it up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's why I totally understood when you said that. So, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Great.
Okay, it was lovely to have you on the show. As always, be sure to give us a call back and let us know how it turns out.
Yes, thank you so much. Blessings to you both.
Yeah, blessings to you as well. Take care and good night. Until next time.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are going to get off to Nancy here from area code 541. Hi, Nancy. Are you on the air with me? Can you hear us?
Hi, I sure am. And you have my birth, all the stuff you need, right?
I have you in here as you were born at 10:05. Is that right? PM?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I have that one. And now, Nancy, do you have a question for us, or would you just like a general?
Yes, I do. I've been focusing a lot now on finding classes or groups of people in my area, like-minded people, things that I'm really interested in. And so far, I haven't found anything yet, but I'm still searching. I was just wondering if I like metaphysics, I like crafts, I like alternative health classes, anything, that's interesting to me. And so I was just wondering if you see that in the future for me, near future.
Okay. All right, Veretta.
Nancy, where are you looking?
In Grants Pass, Oregon.
Okay. And what format are you searching on? Are you looking on social media? Are you hitting up websites?
Everything. Everything.
Okay, so this is what I found. 2 sources. And that's kind of why I asked, because I couldn't imagine you not doing this already. However, this is what I saw. Meetup was the first thing that came in. And I saw, the only reason I know that was the red emblem. I used to run meetup groups, so it was very familiar to me. So that was the first one. The second one, I saw you walking into a Starbucks or a coffee shop similar to a Starbucks that would have the local bulletin board where people could put their stuff on flyers. I think that's where you're going to find your group of peeps.
Wow,
So,
that's very interesting.
Don't get hooked on coffee, just looking for a group of people to hang around with. But definitely get out there and start looking in those type of areas. I think you'll literally find the people that are your forte. So just get out there, keep looking. It's not that they're not available. It's just, I think, what do I want to say? Why did she not find? Okay, so when I ask why you didn't find who you're really kind of looking for, I'm hearing you're not quite ready. So I don't know if that means you're not really sure about the social scene. You're not sure really how to interact, where you fit in. I don't know if it's awkward for you or all of the above, but I think now's the time to throw that old baggage out the door and just get on the crusade, say, I'm going to find me some people that I can communicate to, that I like, that will like me, and we're all on the same page. So hopefully Ernesto can give you a time frame, and he can pencil with his little planets and do the math and figure out really kind of what you're looking at, what page you're on, what page you're on. Ernesto?
Yeah, Nancy, do you have any particular interests or like goals for, this type of classes or education?
Oh my goodness. Well, what my interest now is in something that I probably won't be able to find any class around here is light and color therapy. But I also am interested in Uranian astrology. I got all the books and the apps and everything like that, and would like to start, but that would be online, start a class or something like that.
Well, actually, next
You're
year.
in Grant's Pass?
Hello?
You're in Grant's Pass, you said, Nancy?
I'm sorry?
Did you say you are in Grants Pass, Oregon?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Ernesta.
Okay, Nancy. So Uranian astrology. This is something that I specialize in. I'm actually going to be publishing a book next year. That'll be a textbook on the methods that tells you very clearly how to do the work and in what steps and what it all means. There will be a separate lexicon that'll be about the rule books. That's something that I'll be a collaboration project for next year. So that'll be probably around the holidays of 2023 that will come out with that one. But for right now, there will be a textbook that'll be coming out next year, and that'll give you all of the ins and outs of how this works, how to read a chart, and all of the specific mechanics about it. When we look at your chart here in particular about asking the questions of, for example, Saturn Apollon, which is having to do with being a pupil, Saturn Poseidon, and this is going to have to deal with spiritual lessons. These are both energies that we work with, both different axes in Uranian astrology: education, the pattern, the model, to focus on following instructions. So that's going to be the Saturn Poseidon. We're looking at that. If we look at your chart here and what's going on, we can see that this where I have the pointer on this green dot, there's also a blue dot underneath it. So the blue dot underneath, the one on the first dot you see is going to be the Saturn Apollon, and the upper one is a Saturn Poseidon. So we're asking two separate questions here that have to do with your spiritual education, and also we're asking a question about you just as a student in general. What does that look like? So when we look at this, about you and education, we see you as a student. Why do we know that? Because you in education, which is the green dot, which is where the arrow is at, comes to the blue dot right underneath it. And that question has to deal with you being a student. So you in education, you will be a student. We know that right away. Like, we don't even really have to do a whole lot of work here. And we can see this in your chart, that this is something that that you will personally be dealing with when it comes to like wanting to open your mind to all of these new subjects and information fields. And I also see you working with it as well, because you've got this other energy here for this Mars and with the sun down here. So this is my work. This is going to be affected by this question in your spiritual studies. So this is something that you're going to work with now. And so whatever you do, as far as like classes, you're going to be interested in more of the hands-on kind of stuff. You don't necessarily want a lecture. Like, my textbook is written to just give you information. But when you hire me for lessons, the lessons are basically just practice. That's all we do, is we just practice what I've written out for you. Because, you can read about how to do the methods, but the reason you hire a teacher is because you specifically want to learn how to do something or get better at a craft. So when you're looking at, these types of groups or people, you're going to want something that's interactive, where people are going to be talking to each other and getting to know each other and, practicing the work, not just, like reading PowerPoint slides and just falling asleep. Like, that's a snooze fest. I'm sorry, but that's getting ripped off if you're just sitting in a workshop and nobody's doing anything. You want to be engaged. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for you. And I think that it's going to be a very powerful group. It's definitely a group that's absolutely going to change your life in the direction that you're heading in. But the big thing is that you're going to want something in person. You can do some, virtual online kinds of things. But you, Nancy, as a person, in terms of a student taking all of these things, you specifically want stuff that's going to be around other people, because it's that connection that you require that really keeps you coming back. That's going to be the thing that brings you back to these people all the time, is the fact that I know them and I can do this. So that would be my suggestion, is, and like Loretta said with the message boards, that's a great thing. But I do think that the people will be physical rather than virtual. So those would be the types of events that I would look at.
Okay. And you don't have the time frame or...
The time is now,
Nancy,
actually.
do you have the time is right now, and I'm going to tell you 2 places to go. You have a piece of paper and a pencil?
Oh, I get one right here. Okay. Okay.
All right, you've got Grant's Path Healing Art on 6th Street. Number is 541 660 5531.
Wow. Okay.
And then you've got the Blue Room, or excuse me, Living Blue. They use Blue Room. So it's Living Blue.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So check out the Healing Arts
Okay.
Center and get started. You have 5 people that I know of that are listed there doing light therapy. Okay?
Oh, wow.
But those are the 2 that I actually have had access to. So.
And Nancy, so I don't know if they really do this, but something else. Let me just do a quick search right here. I'm trying to get you some more information specifically about color therapy because that's sort of a specialized or a niche field. Let me see. Oh, cool. This is so. If you go to udemy.com, that's UDEM as in Mary, Y.com. Go to that website. It's like Academy, except with a U at the beginning. So udemy.com, go to that website. It's basically like a website where you can go and purchase pre-recorded classes. So like I'm learning Fruit Loop Studio 20. That's a music production software. I don't want to take a formal college class or, even to watch YouTube tutorials to figure it out. I'd rather just pay $14.99 and have all of these mini pre-recorded lessons where I can just sit there and watch it and absorb it and practice it myself. So that's what I did. And it's all self-paced. They actually have some really extensive stuff here on color therapy, which is something that you're interested in. Like the courses begin as low as $9.99. And so like what it means on their website is you can just go out there, purchase a class, and you can have access to all of the lectures and the handouts and whatever homework may be there as well. And you have an instructor that you can email to ask questions to. So I think that, that would be something that you could do that's not so much in person because it's all self-paced, but you have an instructor that you can write to, if you'd like that in-person experience, to make it personal. But I think that would be a way to open your mind up to some other things in color therapy if you're having difficulties finding those options locally.
Oh, wonderful.
So
well,
like,
thank you for all your advice.
Yeah, start like buy a course online for $10, take it. And then, when you find out I want to learn how to do this, boy, I don't have any friends. Nobody in town is doing this. Go to a coffee shop and put up a sign that says color therapy group. Like practice, start now, call this phone number on this date and time. You can start your own group for color therapy. I think that, like as we were talking about at the beginning of the show, that everybody's having to adjust their plans on how the situation is changing. This is one of those areas where you're being called to do your own thing because what you want doesn't exist. It's just like for me, I had somebody hit me up a couple of months ago who says, hey, I want to take Uranian Astrology lessons because you apparently do something that's very different than what anybody else is doing, and I want to know how to do that. And I thought, okay, cool. But the problem is that we don't have great written materials when it comes to this subject. They really just don't exist. All of the information you need is out there online for free, but you have to sift through so much crap that it just wastes all of your time. So that's why I was actually forced to write a methods book that says, so these are the steps that you take because this is how astrology works. That's something I had to do for myself because I live by 2 phrases. If you want something done right, do it yourself and go pro or go home. Those are the 2 things that I live by. And so my whole thing was, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And I did. So the book will be coming out around the holidays.
Oh, wonderful. No, I hear you. I'm so disenchanted with all the old astrology, and I've taken it all. I've done it all. And so far I haven't gotten any answers from it.
Yeah, I know. It's
so
just all...
I really... No, I'm impressed with Uranian Astrology. Like I said, I have the books and I have the free app. I don't have the big, the one that costs some money, the app. But,
right.
But I really enjoy it because it's so precise.
It really is. It's just a language, and that's why I love it. So, like I said, like I was telling you, Nancy, is that I think that, if you go out there, to udemy.com, buy some of those cheapy courses for color therapy. Sounds like that one of the instructors even has like a certification course that you might want to get into. You could take like some more intensive lessons that are more in depth, and then you could get a certification through that teacher if that's something you're interested in, or possibly even start your own group and do something like that locally. All of the options are there, and like I said, the time is now. So if you're not doing this by the
Yeah.
spring, you're going to be very surprised that it's too late. Like the gears are already in motion.
Okay. Well, I certainly will. I'll get started. So thank you both.
Well, it was great to have you on the show, Nancy. We'll catch up with you soon. Take care, and until next time.
Okay.
Take care and good night. Okay, so we are going to take our last call here from area code 801. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens Show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hi, Shaley, and it's 3/16/84.
3/16/84.
City, Utah. Salt Lake City, Utah.
At what time?
5:29 a.m.
Perfect. All right. And Shaylee, do you have, that was 5:29?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Shaylee, do you have a specific question for us, or would you just like a general reading today?
A general, please.
Perfect. All right. And Veretta, go ahead.
Okay, Shaylee. So, there's a lot of info that's floating around here right now, and it's tempting to just snag something out of the air, but I'm really kind of being guided to say you really have a lot going on, but your mind is focused around something that maybe you want an answer on. So, without giving a lot of detail, would this entail someone else, a relationship or somebody that you're kind of wondering what's up with?
I would like to find love, but no, I'm single. It's been a really hard couple of months, though.
Okay. All right. So I'm focused on a somebody that's really in your heart. I'll let that go, but I want to say whatever's to come, there will be closure in it. Okay? It'll give you a reason to understand why it ended or why it was the way it was, and help you feel better or help you let go. Okay?
Okay,
So
thank you.
But what I am going to tell you is, if that's something, I feel like, honey, you've got a lot of info around you. There's just so much whirlwind. You're a dynamic individual. You've got a lot going on, but then at the same time, you feel like your life is freaking so boring, it's out of place. And I feel like all you do is work, or all you do is focus on, making a life, trying to living. You don't have time to do anything outside of that box. But what I want to tell you is that this is not going to remain this way forever. This is a transition, stepping stone, in between an interim, if you will, of more intense, more structured, like it's either going to be a job where you are being trained to do something, to help someone, be a part of a different style of life than you are now, or it's a relationship that's going to bring in like a new job, or maybe they own their own business that you're going to then be a part of, or a whole new style of discipline that you're going to really get into and enjoy. And it's really what you're made. It's who you are.
It's great to hear.
Okay. You've not actually tapped your potential. Okay? And I think what's to come, all these things that are like tying up loose ends, things are falling off, people are falling away, rugs are getting ripped out from under you. The things that are happening, it's like, what the hell is going on right now?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to do is see that there is a big play here to clear your schedule, to clear your path, to clear everything out of your way so that when this new opportunity does come, you have no excuses. And if you don't take it up, it's on you. Then you can't be mad. Then you can't be the victim. Then you have to be accountable for your own actions. And it's really going to give you a brand new perspective on who you are, what you've got to offer. Because, like I said, you've not even really been able to tap your potential. So you haven't been challenged to your end desire or result where that's concerned. And that's what this is going to bring you. Maybe a little tough to start because it is so different, but the reality of it is it's exactly what you want. And it won't be hurtful. It won't be, it won't be where you're taking hits, dodging people's BS to try to make a living. It's going to be what you want to do. It's really going to be who you are. So now, maybe Ernesto can give you a lot more detail in that, and I'll let him have you.
Okay, so Shaylee, I'm taking a look at your chart right now. This is.
I'm so exhausted. I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shaylee, would you say that the exhaustion is related to like mental depression?
Oh yeah, I'm very depressed right now. I have been for a minute.
Okay, so like when we're talking about depression, like in this conversation, like I would say the rest of this week is going to be less intense than what it was, let's say today, for example. Like today was probably very difficult. Would you say that's true?
I mean, if you're looking at a transit, whatever transit it is hit me more last night. I would think.
Okay, yeah.
It was. I mean, there was a little emotional, but yeah.
Yeah, see, because you see what would have happened is if we move the chart back by a day, then what we see here is that you have like a double pattern of Mercury Neptune that shows up in your chart. So that's kind of where a lot of that depressed energy comes in. So if we look at 1821, no, that's not the right number. Get there. Okay, so if we look at this, like really bad, that midpoint, these are going to be the same. So this is going to beat you up. That's going to be like, I don't really know if I'm going to make it out of this. Maybe I should just go to bed and everything will be better in the morning. Like this, it was a very difficult time. And, in particular, like this is a thing that you are having to deal with right now is, like your mental health is really taking, I think, like one of the biggest hits it ever has. And specifically where it's really hitting you the hardest is the pain and the pressure of feeling lonely. I'm alone most of the time, but I'm pretty okay with that. Like I'm not bothered by being alone. I actually kind of like it. But for you in particular, it seems like that, the pain or the depression, the sadness that's associated with, feeling lonely, that's really the biggest source of, the mental health stuff that's going on right now. So if I were your therapist, and we could do something to, get you into like a better place, then that would be, let's do this rap sheet or this exercise, whatever you want to do, to make sure that, we're clearing out your emotions, because this is a major theme for you. And you're going to be hit hard with it. By the end of the year, though, that a lot of that intensity is going to ease up. I think this summer is probably the worst that it has ever been and the worst it will ever be. So you just got to make it through this rough little patch here and, really start to restructure things for yourself, because the new year, that tension is going to be lifted up off of you. So whatever plans that you had set into motion for yourself back then in the past, those are finally going to be able to start moving forward now. So I would, my advice to you, Shaylee, is make space for the new things in your life, and especially mentally, like there a good cleaning of the mental house more so than the physical one. That's where you would really benefit. So I don't really know how you would address the issues of feeling lonely, but I feel that that's, a big source of why, you feel so low and so down on yourself about everything.
Yeah, that was very accurate. I've never been this alone in my life, and it's been for about a year. Like I literally, and I'm not one to usually complain or whatnot, but I literally have I have no one. Like, yeah, but it's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
but I keep trying.
it's getting hard, and I also see that your social circles are also narrowing a little bit too, like perhaps maybe because of the mental energy that you've created, just because of feeling lonely and everything, that's sort of alienated others in your own core. So then what that ends up doing is your circle, which isn't great to begin with, it just keeps getting smaller, and it's sort of like, okay, so now I used to have 7 people that I could call if it was bad. Now I only have 5. Now I only have 2. Now I don't have anybody. Now I have to go to Reddit. Are you kidding me? I have to go and post my feelings online. What kind of a person would do that? Like you know where I'm going with this, but like that's gonna be conversations that you may have to have with yourself later on in the year. So if you get to the point where it's just sort of like, I've had too much and I feel that my energy might be too negative, just withdraw. There is no harm in just pulling yourself away for the sake of keeping other people around so they don't think you're a freak.
Oh, I haven't been around anybody. Like, when I say I've been alone, I mean I'm not like, no, I've been very alone, and I hopefully will find work soon, because the isolation has been extreme and getting to an unhealthy point. But I'm aware of that, so.
Yeah, I think that the isolation, that's the biggest part of the mental health crisis that's going on right now, and taking whatever steps you can to resolve that are really going to improve your overall quality of life. So that's what I would suggest, as far as like your chart's saying right now, that make yourself a game plan, so when the first of 2023 rolls around, you at least know what the heck you're going to be doing with yourself. I know Veretta talked about all of these really nice things that you're starting to see for yourself, because you've taken those steps. Now, actually, make a game plan going forward with that. Like, if you want to do some vision boarding or something like that, just to say, okay, so I know what this is going to look like. I think I can do this. I may not be good at it, and I'm probably going to mess it up pretty hard, but at least I have something. Because if you don't have a sense of any sort of structure, then that's kind of when things get really difficult and start to fall by the wayside. So,
Yep. Since I've lost my job, that's what my structure is for me. My life is my work, and it's been I do not do good without a job.
Are you working right now?
No, I got fired like about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
when I say isolation, I mean like isolation, like yeah.
Were you working in? Were you doing like
service.
service industry work?
Yeah, customer service, yes.
Okay, right. Yeah. So again, the jobs nobody wants. So yeah,
I like it.
Well, I loved working retail customer service. It was great, but most people don't like working in call centers. We're just freaks because we're so lonely. We like talking to people.
Well,
This is what happens when you isolate yourself.
Home, I would not do it, but it was working from home. That's the only reason why. But yes, you are correct.
Yeah. So, the job thing. So that's really just. Are you looking for new work, or are you just taking a break right now?
Oh, I'm definitely looking for new work. Yeah, I have like $10 to my name, and haven't been able to pay my rent this month.
Okay.
I've been looking, but I think Spirit just wants me to take a break for whatever reason, which is frustrating. But I mean, I always figure it out.
Yeah.
Veretta,
So
do you
it's all time to make. It's all time to make some conclusive determinations about the people that you associated with, or the habits that you had, or it's like, don't take it in a negative, well, I guess I'm not worth anything, nobody's saying it's around. One of the reasons why you're solo now is because you either outgrew your group, or you really just didn't want to hang around what they stood for, period.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that didn't want to be accountable for their actions faded away. Because you didn't have a problem letting them know, hey, no, I'm going to call BS on that, and eventually it just got to the point where it was easier for them to just be away, and that you got used to it. Easier.
Yes.
No hassle.
Including my family.
So,
yeah, everyone.
Yep, your family. Now, that's not going to stay forever in the no-fly zone. But you definitely, you know who they are now. And in comparison to who you hoped they were, who they used to be, or what it used to be like, that's not the way it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's hard waking up more and seeing people as they fully are. a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So don't pick up, back up in the old days where you would have gone to a game to be included in something. Just know that right now Spirit's giving you the chance to be able to say, I'm kind of done with this. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, Shaylee,
Yeah,
just want to
I
just looking at your chart again. I asked a question. Yeah, I have your chart about work, so that's what we're looking at here. And on that green dot where we have your the dial right now, what you'll see is you have. You were saying, I'm wondering if maybe you should take a break from work for a little bit, just because that's just what you need to do. Like you were saying that Spirit's telling me I need to do that and I don't like it, but whatever. So here it is. Here's where we can find that actually and confirm it in your chart. So we look at the question about work on this green dot, and what do we have here? At the hour of this question, we have Moon Hades. We've got Hades, Venus, and we have Hades, Venus, and natal. So you have a triple Hades that's showing up on your question about work. So if you were to work right now, you getting fired again would be very likely. I would almost expect that, or you would have so many difficulties in terms of finding a job that you would just beat yourself up over it. So when you say I'm being called to take a break right now, that really sort of is the right thing to do according to your chart. Is take a little bit of a breather. Focus on those mental health, vision board ideas that we talked about. Do something along the lines with those. I just think that you and work right now, you just need to have a little bit more space there. Like you're not there mentally to be in that type of environment and to succeed in it. That and that you also don't have the information you need to about the type of work that you want to go into, because this is an aside from the chart, but psychically I feel that the work that you go into will be a different caliber of work than what you're used to, and it's something that you're actually really going to like. And I know this because of the fact that we have this Aries point on the pointer tail here, so that means that this is the year. So this is the year for you, Shaylee, that you find that job that you're looking for, and that's going to be here.
Yeah. Mentally, I'm always mentally capable of working, but it helps me. Like with my Virgo moon and my Virgo rising, and with my Capricorn in Jupiter in my 4th house, I have to work. I need that structure. I go crazy without it. And it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that if you tried to work right now, the work that you need to do is on yourself, like plain and simple. That's really the main thing that needs to be addressed. Working for a company to pay bills and all of that kind of stuff, like you're going to have to devise some sort of alternative for that. If you can do anything at all to recharge your batteries and, just kind of step back and fix yourself up a game plan, do that. Like it'll make a world of difference, because if you try to charge through it full steam ahead, everything's going to fall apart and you're going to be pretty frustrated with the results.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know.
Well, it was great to have you on the show, Shaylee. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and let us know how it turns out. We'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure meeting both of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to have you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Good night. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, so that is everybody for our cue for tonight. It looks like we're going to be closing out the show a little bit early. I know everybody has some craziness that they're all dealing with in their own personal neck of the woods. So I wish you all the very best of luck in that whole process. We will be back with you guys Saturday on the 27th. And we will be doing that at, what were we doing, Veretta, 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
So
3 o'clock on Saturday.
3 o'clock Saturday for an hour. We'll be here 3 to 4 Arizona or Mountain Time. So we'll catch you guys then over the weekend. And remember, in the meantime, for all other things Uranian Astrology, be sure to check out eastrologer.net, and you can find Veretta at verettavision.com.
And have a good night. God bless.
Take care, everybody, and until next time, good luck and Godspeed.